As an average Terraria player, I've always wondered, watching people do challenge runs videos, on how hard could it be. So my brain said, you know what, it would be funny if I did my own challenge run video. And in this challenge run video, I will be only using the color blue for all my gear. First rules are that every weapon or piece of gear must be 50% blue to be considered blue. Secondly, I must actually have very viable builds, and these builds actually have to be like high quality blue builds in each section of the game. Thirdly, potions also have to be blue alongside accessories and anything else that we use. Gear, life crystals are subject to change, however, as the video goes on. And rule 3, this run will be a lot of pain. I hope you guys like it, and please like and subscribe if you like this type of format for my videos, and enjoy. At the beginning of the run, I immediately begin chopping trees to gather resources for exploration to see what's around the world. I then travel to the left and find immediately a corruption biome, which is fantastic, and I immediately get killed. Then I travel to the right and go through the desert, finding this strange large cliff. Using rope I gather from my loot bag, proceed to travel down, and travel further to the until I reach another forest. Then I finally realize, oh wait, this is supposed to be a death mode run, and will set my game mode to death mode, and the real run starts as I die. Then, once I begin to construct a small wooden shack, and also die in the process. After this, I proceed to then finally realize the run starts. So, look what I have, look at wood, and remember that the wand of frosting can simply just be crafted at the beginning of the game. But what we're going to need to get is first a wand of spiking. So I begin mining downward into the world. As I traveled further and further down, proceeded to find more cavernous caves, like this one, roping down, and proceeding to just travel. So I'm going to grab a little bit of stone, and then proceed to just continue mining. Down, 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 until I found another cave opening behind some silt. And I traveled, got some tungsten, avoided the trap, and then proceeded to die to a skeleton. Now back on the surface, I crafted a wooden boomerang and the wand of spiking in order to, and alongside a lead and platinum short sword. Because if you didn't know, fun fact, lead and platinum are both usable resources. Then I proceeded to travel to the left, going through the corruption once again, and dying. And dying. And once again, traveling through it, and successfully making it. Then, after looting up a chest with nothing for my life, I proceed to die. And then, on my way back, I stumble back into a shadow corruption chasm. And decide, let me just go ahead, craft some sticky bombs, and go break a shadow orb, finally giving me a musket, which I can't even use. And so, after proceeding to die to a devourer, I then travel up and look at what I can make with fallen stars. Realizing that we can make the enchanted boomerang, all I need to go get is now some more gold. So, I traveled to the underground desert's entrance to see if I could make my way tunneling down through. However, Wolfram Jones immediately decided that it was not my day. After that, I proceeded to check the recipe browser and found out that I could make the crystalline, one of the best rogue weapons in the game, and it's actually usable in this run. So, I set my sights on that. But first, I decided to make a bridge over the corruption. Because holy hell, I hate the corruption, I hate the damn bridge, and I hate the fact that I've been dying there way too often. So, after proceeding to make almost my way all the way there before falling, I gathered more resources, and finally, after 2 hours, I finally was able to just have a quick access route to corruption after I finally actually thought. Then I proceeded to go back underground, collecting the gold I needed for the enchanted boomerang aforementioned earlier. Then I was lucky enough to stumble across a cabin inside the cabins, and prayed that the item inside the gold chest was not Hermes boots. It was in fact Hermes boots, and I proceeded to cry my life out. Then I began to travel and dig throughout to find a mushroom biome, and then seeing a life crystal, I grabbed it, being unable to use it. I then returned back to the left side of my world to explore the giant tree that I had found, gathering the loot from both chests and legitimately finding nothing of use or need or want. So I proceeded to travel to the Tundra biome, back to stumble into the caves and check the chest at the beginning of that log cabin and found nothing useful. So, crawling my way down, I gathered myself some ice blocks to make ice twitches for the wand of frosting that I wanted to make. And as I traveled down, I didn't seem to have any trouble until I reached a certain point with that tungsten and died to an ice bat. Then proceeded to craft some more ice twitches and the wand of frosting that I wanted. I then returned back to the tundra to open up a chest in a cabin to find an ice blade that was really useful. I traveled a little bit deeper before proceeding to die as I fell. Then I returned to the mushroom biome to loot up chests that I saw earlier, and got nothing of use except some extra money and a night vision potion, which I can't even use. I then accidentally used a grab potion. By the way, this is illegal in the end, so I'm painfully punished for it. I then proceeded to craft some gold so that way I can make a enchanted boomerang. Then after crafting that enchanted boomerang, proceeded to travel down to this ice biome into the tundra and began to battle for my life as I tried to collect this chest inside this igloo, which contained one of the most important accessories, the frozen ice cube, which summons a little elephant that deals a lot of extra damage. This takes up some of my defense though, however, because it requires 33% of my defense to power the elephant, but it's a good trade-off in the end. I gathered more gold in order to turn it into platinum, and proceeded to just travel around the tundra looking for chests as I go. I quickly then stumble across another cave opening with another chest at the bottom, and open it to find an ice boomerang. Then traveling a little bit further up, I find a cabin with, you guessed it, another ice boomerang. And then I was lucky enough to find some flurry boots before dying. Then returned to the mushroom biome and farmed for a crawdad's claw carapace. Then going back to the tundra, killing a rhymehound for the tundra leash, providing a very fast mount. Then, as I looked again through the tundra, I found another cabin earlier, higher up, that I missed. Then, traveling to the right side of the world, decided I want to go back to the desert. But I was unsuccessful and was unable to really just stay there for long before actually perishing. And then I proceeded to, after that, make armor, Snowfian armor, and a platinum helmet, and then began to fight the Desert Scourge for the first time, in which I did not proceed to win this fight, but got pretty good, and actually shocked myself.
Oh my gosh, it's so doable. It's so doable. I think give me a double jump, give me a couple other, some better armor. Oh, it's doable. It's hella doable.
And so that's why I did just that. I went down to find more gold to convert into platinum for armor. And as I did this, I just simply began to extract a lot of silt, look for a lot more loot chests, and eventually found a minecart shaft, which led me to a couple other bits and pieces of gold around the area. And so then I also decided to make my way around to the other side of the minecart shaft to find the underground desert. I then proceeded to go beyond the big trees and the giant mahogany tree inside the jungle to hopefully find an entrance to the shimmer, which is marked by a shimmer well. However, I was stupid and I proceeded to just mine away in. After dying, I proceeded to travel up to Draydon's laboratory in the sky, and looking multiple times as I perished and traveled through the removed centuries, gathering some resources like planter pots. I then decided to re-challenge the Scourge to no avail, and again, and proceeded to just keep doing this for a super long time, but every time I would get close I would die.
Oh my gosh, bro.
I then finally remembered I made the rules of this run, and so I decided to make a fourth rule. I could use life crystals, but only a limited amount. So for pre-Hardmode, I could only go up to 200 max HP at most. Then after this I decided to refight the Desert Scourge again, and actually was doing a lot better with more HP, but I was improving my dodging skills. I felt like I might have needed a little bit more health, so I went to go grab another life crystal and then proceeded to try again on the grind. However, after that run, I finally had the one run I needed.
Oh my gosh, let's go finally. Holy. Took a long ass time, but I did it. Alright. Let's go, it only took the change of gold.
After winning, I opened the treasure bag and proceeded to craft the Itchin Mace, one of the next best weapons that I could be using in pre-Hardmode for this run. And then I proceeded to make my way down to underground to look finally for the sunken sea, and hopefully defeat the giant clam while I was down there. And as I battled the giant clam, let me just tell you about our sponsor for today's video. Myself and I. But we quickly defeat the giant clam and proceed to go around building ourselves a sunken sea base, where I can finally call my main base, as I wanted to have a base down here for the sake of the challenge being only blue. So, naturally fitting, sunken sea is blue. I then look through some recipes for tools and tables and chairs. That way I can better finish this base. Then I see the weapons that I could use. The Sea Shine Sword is probably the best weapon I have here, or the Aquamarine Staff. However, I decided that I'll go for the Sea Shine Sword, even though the Aquamarine Staff is great for mage. But I don't want to be playing mage this run, at least not right now. So, proceed to go back to my main base, put away my stuff, and begin to actually think about how I want to upgrade this base as well. So, without further ado, begin chopping down a bunch of trees, breaking down the house, and begin to build giant platforms upward in order to build a new, somewhat sky-based like structure with elevated houses, so that way events wouldn't bother me. I then look around recipe browser with the white pearls that I got from clams, seeing that I can make the pearl god, but that's not a viable weapon. But I can make the magic conch for travel, which would be good later. So I continue to finish the houses by adding booths, and then adding an extra side as well, so that way I can have more NPCs move in without me having to expand that much.
Ooh.
So, as you see, the slime man finally fell, and I proceeded to fight a bunch of slimes until eventually the king himself spawned in, and we had a quick, simple bout. The strategy I had was really simple, just run around with the Itchin Mace and just throw the Riptide at him every now and then. but I was unlucky and got crushed. Then, after this defeat, I decided to make my arena a little bit bigger and began to fight the Eye of Cthulhu. And the fight was actually going really well. I thought I could actually probably do it, but quickly realized that he was a little bit more difficult than I thought. So, going to the underground Tundra to get more gold. Then found a chest in a cabin after wanting something mentioned with Band of Regen. However, can't use that, but I could use the Band of Mana Regen when I'm able to get a Mana Ring. Then die and return to the surface. When I return to the surface, I go to find the Shimmer Well. After finally finding the Shimmer Well, begin mining downward into the bottom of it, collecting the chest, and proceeding to head towards the Shimmer. When I finally reached the Shimmer, I simply set up a simple platform, just that way I wouldn't fall in when I jump back down, and collect anything. And I found 2 life crystals and some arrows. Then, I proceeded to fight the Eye of Cthulhu once again. And as this fight continues to take place, I not only just get even closer than a little bit closer than I did last time, but I also perish in this fight as well. Then, finally, actually wanting to get the Sea Shine sword, I actually go get the Sea Prisms necessary for the sword itself. I then craft the sword, and proceed to then simply try the Eye of Cthulhu once again. Only to die. And then a Goblin Army spawns, and I proceed to quickly just dispatch them as fast as I possibly can. I then go underground and find the Goblin Tinker, buying the Tinker's Workshop and rocket boots to make Spectre boots, which are usable in the run, and reforge a couple of my accessories as well. And while I'm here, I begin to also build my little hut. This will be useful for later, as I'm going to try and do a little progression skip, and I begin setting up an arena for a Crabulon. In the process, I pick up a mushroom boomerang. I then head over to the corruption biome to grab the Spicadic mushroom, or the Despacito mushroom, and summon the Crabulon, and begin the fight. I then decide to go back to find the Eye of Cthulhu after dying, and then also proceed to perish here as well. I then go back to fighting Crabulon, which then all of a sudden I feel that this fight is a lot easier. So I heavily focus on this fight for a little bit, and as Crabulon I then simply just continue battling Crabulon for the next couple of hours, hoping to eventually get on, eventually even clearing out my arena so that way we would not have water to slow me down. And eventually, I finally got the run to beat him.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Holy, finally. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's all over. The pain and suffering, it's all over. Oh my gosh, dude. Actually, I really want to see how many tips that's it. Hell nah. The tip 62 bit. I might be washed on death mode.
After defeating Crabulon, I proceeded to open up his bag and realize, wait, I can't even use musket balls, so Fungus a useless weapon. I do get the mushy cloak, however, and become him. Then I proceed to fight Cthulhu again for a couple attempts, and actually get pretty close thanks to the fungal clump that I got from Crabulon, but sadly I perish. Then I was lucky enough to get another Slimeman, and I can finally have the rematch I've been looking for with King Slime.
Game jam. Forgot about the game jam. Forgot about the game jam. Forgot about the game jam. And you died! Doesn't matter.
As we can see, I barely defeated King Slime, but thanks to the Frozen Ice Cube. That is such a clutch accessory. Then I go with my renewed confidence to fight the Eye of Cthulhu once again, and looking luckily for a successful win, I actually get really close. Again, thanks to the Frozen Ice Cube and Fungal Clump combo. But sadly, this one wasn't. However, this run is it.
Let's go. Let's go. Lock in.
After finally beating the Eye of Cthulhu, I proceeded to head back to my base and settle down for a little bit, and pretty much just decided to start moving all my stuff over from this base to my main base now, the Sunken Sea base, thanks to magic storage and pylons. Then as I travel and add more stuff to my base, I begin to actually add a little bit extra to my base. This is the end of the first part of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the experience. Hope you enjoyed my simple journey as a humble average Terraria player into diving into a challenge run. And hope you come back next time. See you later, and God bless.